Lunar mascons. A detailed study of the field of gravity of the Moon became possible after the launch of space satellites into the orbit of artificial satellites of the Moon. Observations of satellite orbits were carried out with the help of 3 ground stations. The first constructions of the picture of the gravitational field of the Moon were carried out by Soviet researchers on the results of the flight of the Luna 10 spacecraft, and further data were updated on observations of the orbits of artificial satellites of the Lunar Orbiter series, as well as on those sections of the Apollo spacecraft routes. Their orbits around the Moon were determined only by its field of gravity. The gravitational field of the Moon turned out to be more complicated and heterogeneous than the Earth. The surface of equal potential of gravity is more uneven, and the sources of anomalies are located closer to the surface of the Moon. A significant feature of the lunar field of gravity was the large positive anomalies associated with round seas, which were called mascons, from the English, mass concentration. When approaching the mascon, the satellite velocity increases. After passage, the satellite slows down slightly, with the orbit altitude changing by 60 to 100 meters. At first, mascons were discovered in the seas of the visible side, rains, clarity, crises, nectar, and humidity. Their sizes reached 50 to 200 kilometers, they fit into the contours of the seas, and the anomaly values were 100 to 200 mV. The anomaly of the Sea of Rains corresponded to an excess mass of about 1.5 to 4.5 times 10⁻⁵ the masses of the entire Moon. Subsequently, more massive mascons were discovered on the border of the visible and reverse sides in the eastern and regional seas, as well as a huge mascon in the equatorial zone of the cinder of the far side of the Moon. There is no sea in this place, therefore, the mascon is called hidden. Its diameter is more than 1,000 kilometers, the mass is 5 times the excess mass of the Sea of Rains. Hidden mascon is able to deflect a satellite flying at an altitude of 100 times 1 kilometer. The total excess mass corresponding to the positive anomalies of gravity exceeds 10⁻⁴ the mass of the Moon. A number of negative anomalies were associated with the lunar mountains, the Jura, the Caucasus, the Taurus, and the Altai. Anomalies of gravity reflect the distribution of massive matter in the depths of the Moon. If, for example, we assume that mascons are created by point masses, then their depth should be about 200 kilometers in the Sea of Rains, 280 kilometers in the Sea of Clarity, 160 kilometers of Crises, 180 kilometers of Calmness, 100 kilometers of Plenty, 80 kilometers of Sea of Knowledge, and 60 kilometers of Ocean of Storms. Thus, gravity measurements found a non-uniform density distribution in the upper mantle.